Thank you so much for having me.
Great, it's my pleasure. So, who is David Griffiths?
Who is David Griffiths? Great question. I am a father, I am a son, but when it comes to serving others, I'm a musician and I am a coach.
Okay. You have an interesting story in regards to social media, your growth and all that, especially in regards to YouTube. So, talk to us about that, your experience and the whole thing.
Sure. Um, so originally, earlier on in life, I was focused in on being a musician and a recording artist and trying to figure out what I could do to allow me to do that as a full-time career. And the thing that the marketing gurus kept saying was I needed to grow on social media. So I was on YouTube for, I believe, 13 years, and I only had 100 or 120 followers. So there was something I was missing. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. But eventually I got the benefit of a coach. There's nothing like getting someone who's already done what you want to do to coach you in how to do the thing that you want to do. And so I got a coach, I got laser beam focused, and I was able to change things. And in fact, the way that this journey began was at the beginning of the pandemic. One of my high school friends, Jeff, he started a Zoom meeting for all the guys that went to high school together that we could kind of encourage each other and check in and see how we were doing. And one of our friends, Kevin, had just lost his mother. And Kevin said, "Hey, David, would you be willing to sing a hymn every morning to help me get through my grief?" And I thought about it, and I had not been sharing my gifts as regularly as I used to because I was disappointed with some of life's circumstances. And when he asked me that question, I thought this was an opportunity not only for me to be a blessing to him, but a blessing to others as well. But what I found out was on Facebook, when you do something, if you want people who've never met you to discover you, you have to pay for advertising. So I thought to myself, I wonder if there's a better way where people who've never met me can still discover me. And so I did some research and I found out that TikTok was a platform that had great organic reach. And in fact, one of the business gurus that I like to pay attention to, Gary Vee or Gary Vaynerchuk, he said that TikTok was the best place for businesses for organic growth. And I thought that was just for like teenage girls to dance on. That wasn't my thing, dancing. So I said, okay, well, maybe if he says it, let me get a coach and let me try to grow on TikTok. So what I was doing that Kevin enjoyed on Facebook, I started doing on TikTok. Only I learned some other strategies from my coach, and I was able to grow to now I have over 1.2 million followers on TikTok. Once I learned that platform, then I used the information from that process to start growing on other platforms.
Okay. And how long did it took to make the turnaround for things to shift?
Okay, so I had shared that I'd been 13 years on YouTube with not much growth, but it was about a year, a little over a year to get to, so I mean, it's all relative, right? Exponential growth. I have like probably 1,530,000 or so followers now
Okay, that's
between my
combined.
different platforms.
Okay, that's combined all the platforms.
Yes.
Okay. And how many platforms are you on?
I'll speak of five, but I experiment when I find when I find a new platform. I often experiment.
And how many times a day that you post?
It depends on what season I'm in. Yeah, so on a regular, I post. Oh, depending on the platform, I post once or twice a day, but I post 3 or 4 times a day during a launch season. And when I'm testing out things, I may post even more, but it depends on the platform. So, for example, if your audience is interested in reaching an older audience, they may post on Facebook. They may post on Instagram for like mid, and then they may post on TikTok for a younger audience. On TikTok, you could post 8, 10 times a day and people don't get upset. But on Instagram, they don't want to see you as much unless there's a different kind of value that you're giving. And so it just depends on the platform and then the season. If you're in the season of launching something, then you do things a little bit differently.
So, what are some strategies that you use or tips that you could give to people?
The first and most important strategy is that you have a vision that is very clear. So, in your estimation, Richard, what do you think is the most important thing why someone should use social media?
Brand awareness first.
So, brand awareness?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Well, it all depends too of the goals, but to me, the number one thing would be brand awareness first, and value, giving value.
okay, cool. So, if you have a brand, you we all have our personal brand, and the personal brand is becoming more important because people prefer connecting with a personal brand versus a logo, right? However, say, and I'm not sure what all the business aspects that you are involved in and the different ways that you serve, but let's say that you were someone who helped people build websites. Then we would figure out, well, who are the kind of people who you most want to serve in that area? Who are the people who are most in need of support to build a website? So there may be a group of people who know how to build, like they get software and they can figure out how to build their own website. So that's not your audience. But there could be tech challenged people who really need the support, but they might be tech challenged and not have any resources. So that's not your audience, right? So you have to whittle down who is your avatar, who is the person that makes the most sense for you to serve with the offer that you have. And then you can figure out which platform makes the most sense and what kind of content makes the most sense. So what I find is if someone comes, they hear that social media is important and they come on social media, then they might get drawn into the ever-ending game of getting more views, more likes, more follows, more comments without an end game and without a strategy. So for example, if you have an offer, but you don't have a way that people get to the offer from your platform, then you may end up, people call it vanity metrics, you may end up doing things that are fun. It's like fun as a game. Like, hey, I got 1 million views. None of my friends have done that. Wow, that's really cool. But did anyone buy anything from you? Like, is this the way that you're going to support yourself and make a living? So if you don't have clarity on who you serve and what the offer is, the value that you're giving, then you can do this other stuff in vain because it's not really taking you to the destination that you need to go.
How do you get more engagement?
When you ask that question, how do you get more engagement? It's interesting. I just did a coaching call before our podcast recording. What is the quote? He who would have more friends must show himself friendly. People are tired of people who come on platforms and they understand the formula that works for getting attention, but they don't have a relationship. So if you want people to be engaged with you, you actually have to show them that you actually care about them. So what would that look like? Well, I actually ask questions that I would like to know of my community periodically from my community so that it's a give and take relationship. The people who sometimes I might have 30,000, 40,000 views on a video, But the people who comment first, or you start to see patterns of regulars, I make sure I interact with them. At the point where you're getting 100 or 200 views and you only have 6 likes and 2 comments, then go to the pages of the people who liked your stuff, look at what they just posted, and comment on their latest post that relates to you. That, to me, is how you develop community and create engagement. There are other ways that are shortcuts. There are clients. We have a team of virtual assistants who support our clients. There are clients who just want to dial it in. They want the virtual assistant to do it on their behalf. And while we do offer that service, I recommend that people actually get in the trenches, because you won't know what your avatar needs if you're not paying attention to them and what they're saying, right? So you actually need to take time to show your avatar that you actually care about them, and that will help you to get better engagement.
So if someone is starting from zero on a social media platform, should they go first on defense or offense? Because if you're talking to your
What
people
do you mean?
if you're talking to people directly and they don't know you and you're asking them for stuff, they might not respond because you're just coming out, and they're probably going to say, well, who's this person, So is it better first like to grow and then after start speaking to your community?
Okay, so here is a technique that I would recommend. Okay, so if you're going to a party and you're going to sit down with some people that you don't know and you have to make conversation, what are some of the questions you would ask? Right? So I don't know what are some of the questions that Richard, you might ask, but I might want to know what kind of food someone else likes. I might say, hey, Saturday night I was at this Swahili Village Day celebration and I had food from Kenya and it was amazing. My favorite dish was this curried fish with chapati. It was like life changing. What's your favorite food? Having that same question on your social media is a great way to engage people. Hey, like you get people's attention. Hey, don't scroll. I have a quick question for you. I'm trying to get to know my online community and I wanted to know, what food are you into? I'll go first. My favorite food is Kenyan food. I especially like the curries. How about you? Let me know in the comments. What's your favorite kind of food? Something simple like that. People don't have to know you to respond to that. People like food. People like learning about what other food people like to eat. And just doing something like that can start to get you in the pattern of creating community and actually engaging with people in a meaningful way, even as you do your other kinds of content. So I would start there.
And what if you get no response at the beginning?
If you get no response at the beginning, ask a different question. So people want a microwave solution often. And I realized the first time that I launched my content creating academy, where the school where we help especially tech challenged and mature individuals to grow on social media and connect with the people they want to serve, what I found is a lot of people like the idea of having 1 million followers, but they don't want to do the work associated with getting there. There were days where I would post 30, 45 days in a row and see hardly any results. On day 57, I had something go viral, and then before I knew it, I had 10,000 new followers. You see what I'm saying? So if you ask a different question, that can help. If you go reach out and you start engaging with other people's comments, other people's content, and commenting on their content, that will help. So to me, it's not should I do offense or should I do defense? It's that I'm going to play both ends of the court, because the algorithm, you may do something and the algorithm is like, oh, this will work. It sends it out and yay, the sky's open and all of a sudden you have a bunch of followers. But in reality, it's going to be faithfully doing something and eventually you're going to stumble across what the thing is then you're going to double down on that, and that's when you're going to see great success.
Speaking of the algorithms, they keep changing all the time. So how does someone navigate that?
So while the algorithms may change, there are certain fundamentals that remain the same. So here are two things I would say. Get a coach who, because it's the lion's share of what they do with their time, that they're plugged into resources that let them know what the updates are and what people are struggling with pertaining to the algorithm. So that's the first thing. Get a coach that is plugged into the changes. But look at the long-term fundamentals. You need, when you're creating content, you need to say something to get people's attention in the first 1 to 3 seconds. This is called a hook. Do research. Go, whatever your, by the way, what is your area of business online, Richard? I didn't ask you before we started our interview.
For now, me, I'm working on real estate. So I'm
Okay,
going to real estate investing and development. So that's what I'm working on.
awesome. So if someone were starting at zero and they're going into to real estate, then what I would say is go search on the explore page, go search hashtags, for example, that are related to your key subject of interest, your niche, and see what's already trending. So grab 10 of them and put, like get something so you can download the videos, create a spreadsheet, and put the videos in. Um, Notice what are the similarities between the things that are doing really well. Okay. And then how would you do something similar to what's already doing well, but your own version? That's like, if people do research before they post, and the research is based upon what's already trending or what's already being effective within that particular niche, they do so much better. So when you have stories, and I know you've probably seen them on YouTube or other places, maybe even Instagram or TikTok, where someone says, "I went from 0 to 100,000 followers in only 60 days." Well, those people that do that, they do the research on the front end. They find 3 or 4 or 5 different people who are in the niche that they are interested in. They go look on their pages. They look and see what their top performing content is. They try to figure out what they're doing, what are the similarities between the different people, and then they pick like 3 or 4 that they like, and they do their version of them. And they do this process over and over again. And so what happens is, you and I, who are just posting what we feel on the day of the week that we want to post, we get to experiment and we get some traction. But because they've done the research of content that's already high performing in their niche on the platform, they get to the front of the line and they have exponential growth because of doing the research. So that's what I would recommend to the person who's just starting out at zero. Do research in your subject of interest. Find people who some might call competitors, or find people who are doing what you'd like to do. See what's working well for them, analyze it, and then do your version of it.
So when is the best time for someone to start monetizing the audience if they want to?
I say that the best time to start monetizing the audience is it's when you say that. Let me frame it this way: it would be a shame to generate 100,000 followers and not have something that is allowing these followers that are following you to find out about some other value that you have to offer along the way. And I'm not speaking of whichever platform's program for paying creators. I'm talking about you have a lead magnet, something of value that you give for free. Either you put a link on your bio, or nowadays, the more popular way is that you have a call to action at the end of your content and you say, if you like my if you like my free guide on how to do X, comment the word guide and we'll send the link out to you right away. So whether you actually have a physical person who's looking for people to DM or comment this word, or whether you set up a software like ManyChat that automates the process where the AI sees the particular word and then it automatically sends the link to the person, sends them to the landing page where they have to put their email address and their phone number in order to receive this free thing of value. By you setting that up at the beginning when you start and have that system in place, you are able to, in the most effective way, monetize your platform.
It can be very overwhelming, like producing content and all that. Some people get burned out in regards to that. So, what would you advise people? Because you have a lot of rules, like you have to post 24/7, 7 days a week.
Mhm.
Uh, what do you have to say to that?
I say this. One, you have to be, okay, know what it is that you want to accomplish, and you can remove the activity that doesn't matter. So I could, if you joined my community, in there I teach 6 or 7 different ways that you can generate your business. However, not every way is for every person. There are some people who are working a job that is very demanding and they only have a couple hours every day extra. So one tool that I would give someone like that is I'd say, hey, on the weekend, on a day when you're not working, let's plan a batch content day. This is the day we're going to make a content creation calendar. We're going to decide on what the pillars are of information that you're going to create content about on a regular basis. Then we're going to figure out what are the pain points of the people whose attention you want to get and you want to serve. And let's create 10 pieces of content around that on one day. Let's say a Sunday, you're going to take 2 or 3 hours to do this. You prepare in advance for it, and then you go record these videos in a row, just talking head videos. If you want to do fancy other stuff, you can, but this is not the conversation for that person. This is for the person who's busy or the person who gets easily overwhelmed. By having the batch content creation day, then now you're not stressed out trying to create content every day and it's overwhelming. Instead, you have a day when you're focused on it and you're generating enough content for the next 2 weeks. I say that's a great solution. The second thing is get help. I have a team of virtual assistants that help our clients for a very reasonable price. So you can go on sites like Upwork, or there are a lot of great organizations that have virtual assistants. But if you're paying someone somewhere between $5 and $20 an hour, depending on what the thing is that you need them to do, it's very easy to get some support for people to do the things that you're not as good at or things that overwhelm you. So I would say who, not how. Instead of stressing out and trying to do everything yourself, figure out who it is who can help you do it, and that will help you to avoid overwhelm.
Talk to us a little bit about the Quick Wins Challenge.
I wanted to figure out a way where I could, for a very affordable amount of money, demonstrate to people that I could help them. So the Quick Wins Challenge is a way that people can have 5 mini sessions with me where, first of all, we get clarity upon what it is that you're doing, how it is that you serve, and who it is that you wish to serve. And then I help you get clarity on how to get those people's attention through your social media. And in going through this process, what generally happens is people get wins. People start to figure out a process to create content that's not overwhelming, as you were just talking about. People figure out how to get people's attention when previously they were just getting crickets. And they do it in a short amount of time for a very small amount of money with a one-on-one experience with me. This offer won't be around forever, but right now it's a great opportunity for people to get into our community. Then we have, for after someone does the challenge, we have different levels within our community of Content Creating Academy of support. And we have a team of virtual assistants that are able also to help those who need even more support. So that's the Quick Wins Challenge if someone's interested in getting some help. Because what I found is I spent thousands of dollars and I joined a lot of communities learning what I know. But if you join a group community, you might not get the one-on-one help that you need. But most of the people that are really good at what they do, it doesn't make sense for them to just work one-on-one with people unless they're going to charge thousands of dollars, and then there's a lot of people that they can't help. So this to me is the win-win, where I'm able to give one-on-one attention to people who need it. I especially have a burden for people who are tech challenged and people who are a little bit older coming to the game who didn't grow up using social media. And so I'm able to help them to get wins that wouldn't be possible in other group situations.
Where can people find you on social and the internet?
So if they're interested in the challenge, it's the quickwinschallenge.com, quickwinschallenge.com. If they want to find me on Instagram, I'm David the Digital Creator. David the Digital Creator. On YouTube at David Griffiths Music. I'm a gospel recording artist, and you can find my music on iTunes, etc., Amazon Music. And on Facebook at Orphan Helper, and on TikTok at David Griffiths 07.
No website?
Several websites, but I'm just pointing people towards the Quick Wins Challenge. If you'd like to learn about me as far as my music career, you can visit davidgriffiths.org. If you'd like to learn more about my company, it's contentcreatingacademy.com.